Okay, we are going to be doing experimental probability today. And what experimental probability is, it is the number of times an event occurs divided by the number of trials. So there's some vocabulary that you need to know. An experiment is an activity involving chance. So think about your science fair, an experiment. A trial, you need to know this definition, it is each repetition in an experiment. How many times did you roll the dice? So on and so forth. The outcome is the exact possible result. So when you flipped the coin, did it land on tails? Your sample space is the set of all possible outcomes. Sample space, set, remember you need to have set brackets around it. An event is an outcome or set of outcomes. Probability is the measure of how likely an event is to occur. When you see the term as likely as not, that means that you get a 50-50 chance, or you have 50%. So let's find some. Number 1 says, identify the sample space and the outcome shown. Spinning a spinner with 4 different colors. R is red, P is purple, G is green, and Y is yellow. Your sample space, again, is the set. You could have landed on red, purple, green. I have to move this set over here because green or yellow. Make sure that you have your brackets. The outcome, what was the actual answer? It was green. Now here, rolling a number cube and tossing a coin. Your sample space is going to be a lot bigger. I'm going to start with an open bracket, but I'm not going to close it till the end. Think about it. If you roll the dice, you could land on a 1, and also at the same time you flipped your coin, it could have landed on heads. Or you could have rolled a 1 with a tail. You could have rolled a 2, flipped a heads. You could have rolled a 2 and flipped a tails. You could have rolled a 3, flipped a heads. You could have rolled a 3 and a tail. You could have had 4 and heads, 4 and tails, 5 and heads, 5 and tails, 6 and heads, 6 and tails, and end your bracket. Those are all the possible options. This specific outcome was a 4 and a head, so the outcome was 4 heads. Now we're going to write a couple of things. We're going to estimate some probabilities from 0 to 100%. So some things that I would like to think about is if it's to the far left, it'd be 0%. If it's to the far right, it'd be 100%. And right smack in the middle, you have 50%. So let's look at these words underneath here. We have impossible, unlikely, as likely as not, and likely, and certain. If it is impossible, it's going to be down here at 0%. If it's unlikely, it's going to be between 0 and 50, so it's right here. We already talked that as likely as not is right at 50%, so this is your as likely as not. If it's likely, it's between 50 and 100%. And if it's at certain, you're at 100%. So I have some scenarios, and we need to decide which of these words would describe the event. A shoe selected from a pair of shoes fits the right foot. Well, think, you have 2 feet. One of them is right, so it'd be 1/2. So this is going to be your as likely as not. Rohan correctly guesses the last digit of my phone number. Well, let's think about it. There's a lot of options that could be. I would say that that's unlikely. I don't know the exact percent, but it's definitely less than 50%. Antara pulls a green marble from a bag of all green marbles. Well, that's pretty certain. She has to pick a green marble. A randomly selected month contains the letter R. So let's think about it. January, that has an R. February, that has two R's. March, that has an R. April, that has an R. May, nope. June, nope. July, nope. August, nope. September, that has an R. October, that has an R. November, that has an R. And December, that has an R. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 12 that have R's. So I would say that this is likely as my answer. Okay, let's compute some experimental probabilities. It says an experiment consists of spinning a spinner. Use the table to compute this experimental probability of each event. What is the probability that a spinner lands on an orange? I'm going to make a probability statement. So I'm going to say probability that it lands on orange. It would equal the number of orange over your total. So there are 10 orange. In my total times that I spun, I'd have to add all these up to get the total. 10 plus 15 is 25. 7 plus 8 is 15. 25 plus 15 is 40. So I'm going to get 10 over 40, which simplifies to 1/4, which is 25%. The spinner does not land on green. So my probability statement would be probability of not green. So it would be the number not green over your total. Well, if there are 15 green, 10 plus 8 is 18 plus 7 would be 25 out of the total of 40. They're both divisible by 5. So you get 5/9. 5/8 is your answer. And then if you make that into a percent, you do 5 divided by 8, and you get 0.625, which is 62.5% chance. I think that the percents are easier for us to understand. Number 8, a manufacturer inspects 500 strollers, so that's my total, and finds that 498 have no defects. What's the experimental probability that a stroller has no defects? So the probability of no defects would equal no defects over your total. We know that there's 498 that have no defects over the total of 500. So we first have to simplify this fraction. Let's first just divide them both by 2. And 500 divided by 2 is 250. 498 divided by 2. 498 divided by 2. That's going to give us 249. And then let's find that as a percent. Divided by 250 equals 99.6% chance. So you could say there's a 99.6% chance that it's not going to be defective. How about the second part? The manufacturer shipped 3,500 strollers to a distributor. Predict the number of strollers that will have no defects. So if we know that 249 out of 250 are going to have no defects, I could set up a proportion and say X out of 3,500 will have no defects. So let's cross multiply. So you'd have 250x equals 249 times 3,500 is 871,500. Divide by 250. Divided by 250, and you get x equals 3,486 strollers with no defects. A second way that you could have done this is if you know that 99.6% are not defective, you could say that 99.6% of the 3,500. And then you could just multiply 0.996, because you have to turn your percent into a decimal. Of means times 3,500. Plug that in your calculator. 0.996 times 3,500. And you get the same answer of 3,486 strollers without defects. Okay, the next thing that you can do is you can do it, I'm going to have you do this with some people. You can use your graphing calculator for this. We are not going to worry about this in the video. This would be something that we would do as a class.